I'm gonna meet an older man for dinner tomorrow night and I'm conflicted. So long story short, we have a big international conference going on at my work and one of the attendees has invited me to dinner tomorrow night. Now I'm not a child, I'm 27, but he's significantly older and I'm generally really shy and guarded when it comes to dating, casual meetups etc. I'm not even sure he wants to hook up afterwards, but I mean, he has work dinners to go to, so it's not like he invited me because he's alone in a different country or something. So I can only assume he wants to engage in something with me. It's been 2 years since I've kissed or had sex with someone because, as I said, I'm absolutely incapable of creating any kind of situation with men. So a part of me is wildly hoping that he takes me back to his hotel room and fucks the living shit out of me all night long, so I can feel free from my inhibitions for one goddamn night. On the other hand, I'm terrified that something could happen to me. He's from the other side of the world, so completely different cultures and maybe preferences or habits, or he could just not be a good person. Maybe it's my inhibitions and overthinking talking, IDK. Also, I'm terrified that he could tell some of his colleagues about this, and that somehow the information will reach the ears of my colleagues. God, I feel so excited and a little bit aroused at the whole idea, the meetup, the secrecy etc. Yeah, I know I'm pathetic, but I'm also wondering if it's the worst idea I've ever had. Help.
Confession 2. Asking my GF to cut off her friend. I will try to keep this brief. I, 23M, have been dating 23F for about a month. I know for some this is a lot, but I have asked for permission to see her phone if I feel like it, and of course I will do the same if she asks. She's been open and even lets me know when someone is messaging her. One person is Brandon. My GF and Brandon are friends and had sex once or twice when she traveled to his city. Distance is about 2.5 hours or so, so they agreed to just stay friends. My GF let him know that she's now in a relationship. He said he was happy, but after a while he sent a meme. It was like, which face does she make during sex, and it seemed like for different girls making orgasm faces. After this, I feel uncomfortable. My GF has assured me that it's strictly platonic. She even sent a message saying that it made me feel uncomfortable. What I asked for initially was for her cut it off. She is telling me he is only one of a few friends and he genuinely cares. She also said that having someone to vent to when things aren't good between us is important, which I can understand. To give a bit of background, my GF's family are Philo and have moved together about 2 years. She speaks really good English and I am trying to learn Tagalog to make it easier. I think because she is working almost full-time, making friends has been hard and we spend most our free time together. I really love this girl. I am worried that setting this boundary is too far and might end the relationship. So Reddit, Ita. Confession 3. Caught my partner cheating, but their excuse was unbelievable. I never thought I'd be one of those people writing about infidelity, but here I am. I, 28M, have been with my partner, 26F, for 5 years. I thought we had a great relationship, good communication, shared goals, and what I thought was mutual respect. Turns out, I was wrong. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed she was being weird with her phone. She never used to be secretive, but now it was either glued to her hand, flipped over on the table, or tucked away in her bag. I didn't think much of it at first because I trusted her, but the signs started piling up. She'd stay late at work more often, disappear for hours on weekends, and when I'd ask her about it, she'd get defensive. The breaking point came last week. She said she was going to a friend's house, but didn't come home until 2 a.m. Something just didn't feel right, so I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone while she was in the shower. There it was, texts with some guy named Tom. Flirty messages, heart emojis, plans to meet up. I felt sick to my stomach. One message stood out, last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. When she came out of the shower, I confronted her. She looked panicked, but quickly tried to play it cool. And then, she hit me with the excuse of the century. It's not what it looks like. I'm helping him practice flirting because he's bad at talking to women. I stared at her, waiting for her to laugh or say she was kidding, but she was dead serious. I couldn't believe she thought I'd buy that. I asked her about the last night was amazing text, and she doubled down, saying they were acting out scenarios. At that point, I told her to pack a bag and leave. She begged me to let her explain more, but I couldn't listen to any more lies. Now I'm here, trying to process everything. How do you stay with someone who can look you in the eye and lie like that? Part of me misses her, but the other part feels like I don't even know who she is anymore. So yeah, Reddit, that's my story. Any advice on how to move on from this? And has anyone else heard an excuse as ridiculous as this? Confession 4. Fiancé cheated with boss. 30M and my fiancé 28F. We've been engaged about 3 months and been together about 4 years. About 6 months to a year into our relationship, she started sleeping with her married boss. It went on for almost a year and a half until he was promoted to the corporate office in another state. She confessed after our engagement and said she felt guilty now that we were planning on getting married. I acted very nonchalant about it to make her comfortable and try to get the whole story. They would meet a few times a week in a nearby hotel, so they had sex at least a couple hundred times. From the beginning they never used protection, even she and I used condoms for the first 6 months. She let him finish inside her most of the time. I asked why she would do that and she just said because that's what he liked. I even met this guy a couple of times at company parties and never suspected anything. He was decent looking and mid-40s. She said he treated her well but never bought anything for her besides drinks or dinner. She said he was good in bed and she just liked being his sex toy. Anyway, I told her I was happy she told me but just needed a few days to digest everything. I am breaking things off tomorrow. My plan is to spend the night tonight and then when she in the shower in the morning to take the ring and the few things I have at her place and leave before she's out of the shower. Weird thing is, I'm 90% disgusted and 10% turned on. Yeah, I'm going to fuck her one last time tonight also. Update, she gone y'all. It was pretty anticlimactic. Just started the continuation of our talk. I told her I didn't see any way that it would ever work again. I told her that she didn't even seem like the same person to me and that aside from familiarity I really had lost any feeling for her. She actually offered to give me the ring, which I of course took. She seems to think that things will heal. I know they won't and I am moving on. Honestly, I feel relief and very little sorry.
Confession 5. I scrubbed his toothbrush on random stuff around the bathroom. I was mentally and verbally abused by a narcissist for almost 8 years. He was an avid coke user that would randomly start fights with me, so he had an excuse to storm out and party do drugs. He also constantly gaslit me while putting me down verbally. He didn't work and just collected rent from one of his rental properties, but always gave me shit for only making $20 something an hour in my mid-20s as it wasn't enough. He would even get to the point of putting up a fight with me when I wore shoes not to his liking and refused to go out until I changed. The mental abuse happened so often that during that time I've mustered up enough hatred to go into the bathroom and scrub his toothbrush on random things such as the sink and toilet and whatever you can imagine scrubbing his toothbrush on within the proximity of the bathroom. I'm not going to lie, it felt so good to do it when I had so much trauma built up from his mental abuse. I have never confessed this to anyone but to my current, very healthy, loving and supportive partner now.
Confession 6. I really do think my sister is special needs and I'm not being mean. My sister is 25 years old and she is a teacher's assistant at a special education school where she is doing a really terrible job. When she 3, she suddenly lost all of her speech and eloped often, which was bad considering she lived near a busy road, a train track, and a lake. She learned how to talk again, and when she went to school, she was put into speech, occupational, and physical therapy and was eventually diagnosed as being mentally disabled. My mom fought hard and hard until she was taken out of all of these programs and graduated with an advanced diploma. Success story of overcoming misconceptions? Wrong. My sister can really only communicate through echolalia and scripting. If you ask her an unexpected question, she's liable to start yelling at you. She can't identify which numbers are bigger. She doesn't know basic history facts, nothing to say about what it takes to get an advanced diploma. She can't read beyond about a second grade level and can't understand movies beyond Despicable Me. She can't walk very well due to extreme clumsiness. I saw her school records once, and when she was in the special class, her math and comprehension were fine. Once she was removed, however, it became completely illogical. The teacher that got her out of the special CLSSS passed her anyways to prove a point, I believe. And about the advanced diploma, it became obvious to me when I was in high school that teachers would do anything to inflate their test scores. I even had a teacher who was giving us answers during a test. None of her teachers even remember her because they just pushed her through. This is just something to get it out there because it just drives me nuts that my mom refuses to acknowledge it when it's so obvious. She would have probably had a lot better life if she had gotten the necessary services and got a job she could actually do. She could probably still be a teacher's assistant but actually be good at it if she had received special services. Whatever.
Confession 7. For saying I would hurt a dog. Me29F live in a small town where you can run at night without any worries, so I usually run 3 or 4x per week around my neighborhood, and I already was threatened by dogs many times to the point of need help to deal with the situation, but never the same dog over and over like in this situation. There's a small condo without fences some blocks away from my house, same street, but a very different people live there, and I love to run there because have good street lights and a small hill. The problem is that in one of the small houses they have a crazy dog that is always on the street and tries to bite me every single time he sees me, and my worst problem with that, it's not even the dog, but their owners that laugh of the situation. They sit on the sidewalk every day like it was their porch. So yesterday the dog tried to bite me again, and after being tired of the situation I asked why they let this happen and said that if someday the dog really bite me I would kick the dog and protect myself. It's a small dog, and they all said that's not their dog and so on. But today 3 of these people started to yelling at me on the street saying they would beat me if I hurt their dog, and all I said in the moment was that they should keep their dog inside because it's their responsibility, that if their dog bites me I would protect myself, and that dogs aren't people and we should preserve people. When I said that, they tried to start a fight and yelled so much I was embarrassed, and then they prohibit me of running in that street. They don't know I live in the same street, or they would beat my ass. So I keep running. Did a phone call with my husband and them called the police. The police came up to my house, took note and said they would be going to their house talking to them. Did right. I overreacted saying I would kick their dog if it bites me,